Melquizael Costa takes on Julian Erosa this Saturday at UFC Fight Night Vegas 106. And this is a good matchup between these guys. Both of them are on 3-fight winning streaks, so some really good momentum for both of them, making quick turnarounds after their last fights. Julian Erosa just beat Darren Elkins on April 12th. So making a turnaround about a little over a month later, and Melquizael Costa just won over Christian Rodriguez on March 29th, which was a quick turnaround from his fight against Andre Fili in February. So he's going to have fought in February, March, and now May, just getting after it in 2025, which I like to see. Didn't really take a lot of damage in those fights, so good to see this guy back in there because I think he's really talented. But Costa, he is 28 years old. 30 fights, 23-7 in his career. He's 5'10" with a 71-inch reach. So both of these guys pretty tall and lengthy for the featherweight division. And Costa, very well-rounded. I think he's like a state jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai champ back in Brazil. Fights out of Chuta box, so has that very aggressive forward pressure style that we see out of those guys. Southpaw striker, really good leg kicks, was beating the brakes off of Austin Lingo in his legs in their fight. Really good cardio, and just all-around very talented guy. A lot of finishing potential, a lot of experience, barely into his prime right now, and just on tons of momentum. He's had a few setbacks in his UFC career against Steve Garcia and Thiago Moises, which there's no shame in those losses. The Thiago Moises fight, I believe he took that on short notice and just kind of fizzled out, didn't really have the cardio to keep pushing a pace. And the same with Steve Garcia. I think at their fight, he got sick initially, so they pushed it out a week. And so just weird circumstances for that one. Got finished by Steve Garcia, who's just an absolute savage and on a run right now. He's on a 6-fight winning streak, isn't he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he's supposed to fight Calvin Kattar in July, which is going to be an absolute banger. But only really loses under weird circumstances, short notice or, weird type of things going into it. He's on a 3-fight winning streak, like I said. One against Shailen Nordambike, where he was just grappling for 2.5 rounds, and then eventually got the sub against Nordambike, who's a really good wrestler. So that was a good feather in his cap. Beat Andre Fili, got the guillotine choke in that one, and then had an overall very good performance against Christian Rodriguez to get the decision. Taking on Julian Erosa, who, like I said, he's on a 3-fight winning streak as well. Recently beat old man Darren Elkins, and just the hardest fight to watch that I've had to, been forced to do in a long time. Got the guillotine choke over Christian Rodriguez, where he had a really good performance, and then same thing, guillotine choke over Ricardo Ramos before that. The Ricardo Ramos fight, he got dropped, ended up getting the guillotine choke. Christian Rodriguez looked really good, a lot of forward pressure against Christian Rodriguez, pushing him back, landing the better strikes, just really walking him down for the most part, checking his kicks, opening up with combos, was able to catch a kick, get the takedown, and then eventually get the guillotine. So really good last 3 fights. He is very chinny, though. He's been knocked out 7 times in his career, was knocked out by Fernando Padilla, knocked out by Alex Caceres in the UFC, Sungwoo Choi knocked him out, Julio Arce, Devontae Smith, knocked out a few times on the regional scene. So major concern for Julian Erosa going into this fight. 35 years old. How many fights does he have? Over 40 fights, 31-11. Very rangy and tall for the division, 6'1" with a 74.5-inch reach. So he's going to be 3 inches taller and have a 3.5-inch reach advantage, which is pretty substantial considering both these guys like to use their long range attacks against each other. But Erosa doesn't really move his head very well in the pocket when exchanging punches. Hence the 7 knockouts in his career, but he does do a decent job of kind of moving with the punches and absorbing the impact. Like I said, he's a very rangy striker, good counters, mixes up his jab, uppercut strikes very well, has really good front kicks and teep kicks that he uses to take advantage of his range. Was able to check the kicks really well against C-Rod, which he's going to have to do in this fight against Costa, or he's going to get eaten up. And just willing to step into the fire, willing to take one to give one, which is not the best strategy for him, considering he is chinny, like I've mentioned a lot of times in this fight. So I am going to have to go with Melquizael Costa in this one, though. I think he's just the all-around better fighter. I think he's got more technical stand-up. He's not going to be as tall, but I think he's going to be a little bit more powerful, a little bit more dense. I think he's got better wrestling. I think they both have really good cardio, and I know that Julian Erosa can catch guys and chokes on the ground, but I just think from a holistic jiu-jitsu perspective, I think Costa is the better guy. I think he's got the better, well-rounded skill set. I think he's younger. He's going to be 7 years younger. He hasn't taken as much damage as Rosa has in his career. He was knocked out by Steve Garcia, but that's really the only time he's been KO'd in his career. And he's just dangerous everywhere. I think he's going to have Julian Erosa on notice everywhere this fight goes. He's got really good kicks, a lot of power on the feet. I think he can match Julian Erosa's jiu-jitsu threat and not get caught in one of these, these chokes that guys are getting caught in while just sleeping. And I think he can get Julian Erosa out of there. I do. I think he can finish him on the feet. I think he can finish him on the ground. And I think he wins this one. I really do. Younger. I think he's more athletic. I think he's the stronger guy, tougher guy. Doesn't have much wear and tear on the tires. Better chin. Julian Erosa, Darren Elkins, Ricardo Ramos, I don't think those are very good wins. He does have good wins back in the day, though. Charles Jourdain finishing him, Hakeem Dawodu, Nate Landwehr, back before Nate Landwehr started to kind of go downhill, finished Sean Woodson. Like, these are good wins, but it's just as of late, Jamal Emmers, beat Jamal Emmers on the Contender Series. Like, these are legit wins, but it's like, I just don't trust him against somebody like Costa, who's very solid everywhere, and I think is going to bring it to him, who's got tons of momentum. I mean, they both are on 3-fight winning streaks, but Costa has fought twice this year already, which could be a detriment to him. He could still be fighting some lingering injuries or things like that, but I like the momentum. I like the rolling fight camp. No octagon jitters, just hopping right back in there and getting after it, and not having any real rust that he has to shake off. And I think Julian Erosa, I think he's on like a fake. I think he got a gimme in his last one. He's on fake momentum right now, after having such a devastating performance over Darren Elkins, who shouldn't be in there still, 40 years old. His nickname's The Damage, and he got damaged in that fight by him. It's just, I don't know. I think Costa will win this one. Julian Erosa is the underdog. I figured that would be the case. Costa's minus 220. I think that makes sense. I think Costa gets this one done. I think he can get Erosa out of there before the distance. Thanks.